Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Social Authority. I got my man J Dubs in the house. It's this way. The number one wholesaler in Amarillo, Texas. J Dubs, welcome.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Wonderful. Happy to be here. Happy to be talking to you.
Dude, it's a great time. And so how does it feel to be the number one wholesaler in Amarillo? We have declared you this as of about, 31 seconds ago.
Yeah, I appreciate the confidence. I just try to go out every day and serve the community. I want to reach out to people that need my help. I want to then be able to provide value to them, help them get out of whatever situation they're in, and then figure out if I'm going to keep the house as a rental for myself, or if I'm going to sell it. So that's what I go out every day and do.
So I love your strategy with marketing, and this is something that we discussed where you were like, listen, I'm not really a studio guy, and I honestly am not either. We were kind of talking about that with music. I'm way more of a live performer and recording songs in the studio. It's so, my ADD is like, can I just sing this once and post it? And it's like, nope, that's not how it works. And so sometimes even in the business world, recording and posting content, it can become a distraction if you don't have the right strategy in place. And so we had a little discussion about you just doing what you do, driving around Amarillo and being the guy that everybody knows in town that is ready to buy houses. And you've really embraced that. Let's talk about that journey for you. I think it's really bringing out creativity and it's enhanced your communication skills.
100%. I mean, any muscle that you flex or work out, I mean, it's going to get stronger. And that was a muscle that I was not using. The more you get in front of a camera, the more you talk in front of a camera, the more comfortable you feel. You get just a little bit of inspiration. I mean, some of the best clips that I've done have been organic. Like I'm just driving around and an idea pops in my head. I'm like, hey, let's go do this. Those are the most fun too, right? Same as life. I mean, life is meant to be spontaneous. I'm not the most spontaneous guy there is, but sometimes the spontaneity are the things that you remember the most.
Well, and someone like me, ever since I was a kid, all I wanted to do is entertain people. And as I've kind of progressed with that journey, I've realized that entertainment has multiple stages, multiple scenarios, multiple delivery systems. And with the invention of the internet and social media, we can do podcasts, we can play live music, we can be live DJs, we can make info about real estate, we could be the cat lady or the landscaping dude or the roofer guy. You can be anything now. And spontaneity is what really grabs attention. You did a monkeying around video, people freaking loved it.
Yeah. And you've got to be yourself. I think we all have that inner child within us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just got to figure out things that are going to bring that out and have some fun. Let it go. Life is too short to not have fun and to be serious all the time. But,
totally.
Be yourself as you turn the camera on. Be yourself in business. I mean, there's no reason in trying to do anything other than that.
Well, and business is hard. And I think that most people want to act like it's always good. Every month is great. Every month is record breaking. And there are some people who have been in the game that are able to build businesses a lot faster than others because they've been in the game so long. I had a guy here yesterday who has been building businesses for 25 years. Of course, he's going to be able to launch something, and in a couple of years, he's going to be able to grow it a lot quicker than someone who's never done it before. But for someone like yourself, or even like me, I didn't start my media agency until essentially 6 years ago or so. I mean, you said you've been doing real estate for 4 years, so we're essentially in almost the same boat. And I think the key is people and environments. What you did with investing in the digital environment of Titanium University, you literally put yourself in a hot pot of people that are doing real deals, getting on the phone, calling people, working scripts, working leads, working systems. You guys use the best CRMs. You guys are communicating in that group. I'm in that group now, and I'm in a lot of different groups. The activity in that group is bar none top of the line. That's clearly helped you push and see your true potential, and you're taking it to the next level.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It is. I mean, you are who you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with winners and you surround yourself with people that are real and are doing life, then obviously you're gonna rise up. You're speaking. We all have a different race. Like we're not all running the same race, and it's not even a race. Like there's no finish line. There's like you,
the
you can
finish line
achieve
is
whatever.
death, my friend, and it's
That's
a
right.
harsh reality. But like we only have so much time. I was talking to my wife yesterday, and she's like, dude, buy the Oakley Meta glasses and wear them on your podcast. Who cares? You know what I mean? You're running out of hair anyway. You got to put a hat on anyway. Have fun. Dude, have fun, man. And I think that the more you continue to do the fun videos and putting yourself out there, the more deals you're going to get, the more people are going to work with you. That's what's the only thing that's worked for me is just putting myself out there. How has the response been for you?
So there's coming to the reality that some people are going to like me and some people are not going to like me. That was one of the hardest things that I had to come to reality. Like it doesn't matter what I do. There's people that aren't going to like me. There's things that I've done that people are not going to forgive me for. I can't change that. I can't change what I did. I can only try to go out and be better tomorrow than I was today. So you just go out and be the best version of yourself each and every day and measure yourself against yourself, not against anyone else. It doesn't matter what Pat's doing. It doesn't matter what J-Dub's doing. You got to go do you and do it the best you can.
Dude, I absolutely love that because I was telling you, I mean, when you pick up a guitar as a kid, like I did, or you pick up a trumpet or whatever, it's like you think in your head, when you're practicing by yourself, you almost have to imagine that there's a huge stadium that's watching you play because it almost forces you to play harder, like you're a pro, like you're the guy, you're the person they came to see. And that's how I always thought about it. And I think that if you can play hard when nobody's looking, well, then what happens when the spotlight really is on and you've put in the energy at gear 5 when nobody's looking? Because then when you turn up to gear 5 and everybody else is on gear 2, they're like, whoa, this guy showed up prepared. And over the course of your real estate journey, as you continue to put yourself out there and communicate and be consistent, you're going to notice that people are going to have a hard time keeping up with you. And they're not going to like you for that either. Trust me. The more consistent you are and the more out there you are, the more competitive you are in the marketplace. And like you said, you're only competing with yourself. That's it. And I think that if you can continue to get into the game for the reasons that you got into the game, yeah, I mean, we got to make money. We run businesses here. But we also have to kick ass. Because if we don't kick ass, then there's not going to be any money. And I got into this game to entertain people, to play some rock and roll music, and to kick some butt. And I think that the more I focus on having a good time in those categories and using my skills to help other people, I always win. But when I think about how am I going to sell, I got to make more videos to sell and get more lead. It doesn't convert. As well as me just being like, hey, if you make videos in your car, you're going to get more leads, you're going to get more deals. And if you need help, I'm happy to help you. People respond to that way more than, here's the 3 steps that you need to take to get a deal on social media. You know what I mean? Like even RJ, he talks about Crocs, he gets 1 million views. He's like, here's how to wholesale a deal, he gets 20 views. Right?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, sales is not sales. If I go try to sell you something, I'm not bringing you any value. I've got to go try to help you. I've got to help you figure out what it is that you need. And if I'm not the right person, I just need to tell you right up front, I'm not the right person, but let me make a few phone calls and find the person that is right for you.
I love that.
So you you were speaking about the preparation that goes on behind the scenes, and all the work that goes in when nobody's watching. I don't remember the exact quote, but basically you're not gonna rise to the occasion. You're gonna sink to the level of your preparation. So if you're not prepared, if you're not studying, if you're not putting in the work, you're not doing the little things, then when the lights come on, you're gonna sink down to whatever level that is. In athletics, we call it the zone, right? I mean, in sports, I mean, you say, oh, he went on and MJ scored 60 or whatever it was. He was in the zone tonight. Well, we have the same zone. You've got the zone in your music. You've got the zone when you're talking to people. It's because you've done it so much and everything else just moves out of the way, and you do what you do where you're comfortable.
Yeah. And I think that being in RJ's group was a really smart move for you, because he's just been doing hours and hours and hours and hours of communicating with people selling their homes for years and years and years and years. And as someone who's edited 8-hour streams of his, I mean, it's just like, holy smokes. Some days he's calling, I don't remember what it was, like in Oregon or something. And it was just like, man, dead cold sometimes. And then he's red hot sometimes. That's obviously, those are older calls. Now everything's way more qualified. But like, especially when we were editing the first stuff, like his willingness to just go for hours and hours and hours, nobody was doing that.
Well, you spoke to that. You spoke to that just a little bit earlier, so I'm glad you brought that back up. I mean, it is the consistency. You have to show up every day.
It
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it's for. Doesn't matter if it's for your wife or for your kids. You've got to show up every day, and I fail at that way too often. And especially with my family. I mean, because we want to provide as a provider, as a male in the house. You want to provide, and we think we need to go out and we need to do this and this and this. At the end of the day, our kids and our wife just want our time. So how do you balance that out, right? Because you got to have money to go spend the time, and it's a tough balance. But at the end of the day, that's all they want is our time. So my wife and I just had a conversation about that. This actually just yesterday. We had a long car ride, and we had a conversation about that. It's a tough balance.
It is tough. And again, as someone who is psychotically driven, even way before I met Megan, my wife, I was willing to literally, like, I'm going to make it or I'm going to die trying, because I felt so called at a young age. Growing up listening to my dad's record collection, I was a trumpet player, and he had the Boston Pops and the symphony orchestras and all kinds of rock and roll bands that were playing with orchestras and symphonies, and the Superman vinyl, the original Superman with Christopher Reeves, the original Superman theme song. I'd be playing this stuff on the trumpet, and I felt like a freaking superhero. And I'll never forget, in like, I want to say 5th grade, it was before middle school, I had this teacher named Mr. Varley. We started doing band. You could either do band class in 3rd grade, or you could do computer class in 3rd grade at Glen Ridge Elementary School in St. Louis. And all the girls signed up for band. So your boy Pat Hilton joined the damn band, right? And so there was this really nice gal. She sat next to me. Her name was Michelle Abrams. She's still actually friends with me on Facebook. I can't believe she hasn't blocked me by now. But and she was really, really good at playing from the book. She always followed directions in grade school. She got straight A's. I think she works at like Washington University now. She's freaking brilliant. You know what I mean? Good for her. I always loved her. She's a great gal. But I remember how great she was at playing from the book. And I hated playing from the book, but you bet your butt I could rip Star Wars. And so in 5th grade, like a couple years that we had been in Mr. Varley's class, I would be playing that stuff before class, and I had no sheet music for it. I just had written down, one button for a trumpet, and then 2nd and 3rd, and then 2nd valve, then 1, 1, 2, you know what I mean? And I would make my own little charts and stuff. And he'd be like, hey, Pat, play us what you were working on. I'd be ripping Rocky Balboa and stuff. But then when I had to play Hot Cross Buns, I'd butcher it, right? And I think that almost goes to she was always like ahead of me in the chairs. Like however well you played the exercise was how you got ranked in the band room. And I was never first chair because I didn't care about hot cross buns. And then you fast forward 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, and it's no surprise that she works at WashU and I run a social media agency because of the personality, the approach, and the other things. I don't fit into the traditional system. It's great for her. It's not great for me. You know what I'm saying? And so, like you said, everyone's got their own acceleration. Everybody's got talent. Anybody can be at the top of the performance charts in their category, but you can't compare your category to someone else when you're different personalities, different executions, and different styles. Both of us are extremely successful, I would say, today, but I don't even think I would get into WashU. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, again, we are all built different.
I wouldn't.
Whether you get in or not, that's not your dream. That's not.
It's not. It really isn't.
We all have different paths. God made all of us different, and in those differences, we've just got to embrace it. I mean, we need the creativity. We need the folks that can be able to ad lib, but then we need the people that can rein those of us back in.
Yeah,
and
dude.
get us on target.
I love that, and I also. That's really important. Sometimes entrepreneurs have a chip on their shoulder. Maybe they didn't do well at school or they didn't do well in college. And they have a chip on their shoulder with people that took the traditional education route. I think both are very important. Both of them are very important. You don't show up to court without a lawyer, right? You better have a lawyer if you're showing up in court with anything substantial. So you're going to want to make sure that person has an education. If I have a problem today and I have to go to the hospital and somebody's working on my shoulder or my heart or my brain or whatever, I'm going to hope that person graduated from college and knows how to use a surgery tool. Right? And so I think it's always important for us to have a ton of respect for people that are elite in any category, whether it's traditional or untraditional. We're all on the same team at the end of the day. And so I think that's important what you said, is to let people be them. Let people be great at what they're great at and root them on. I remember when we were kids, we were playing music. We always wanted to be the best band. We wanted to be bigger and more famous and better than everybody. And at the same time, it's like, that can work to a certain degree, but if you ever really notice, all the biggest bands tour together. Why? Because they can sell more tickets, they can entertain more people, they can collaborate. In business, that is the most important thing we can do, is collaborate with each other, just like all the biggest bands do, or all the biggest, and that's why you see so many of the same speakers on all these stages, is because they're able to control the environment, control the draw, and control who shows up on those places. And so us, if we're not getting that attention, we have to create it for ourselves. And that's where social media comes in. And that's what you're doing so well. You're creating your own stage and your own blueprint and your own environment. And if you keep doing it, everybody in Amarillo is going to know who you are. It's only a matter of time.
Hopefully for the right reasons. So I want to.
Well, yeah, of course they will. I mean, you're out there promoting barbecue shops and stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk about something that you were speaking of doctors and lawyers and people. I think we lose sight of this. You say that they are practicing law. Mm-hmm. They're practicing medicine. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing every day in life. We're practicing. Yep. Like, none of us have it figured out. And who cares what your surgeon got in history class? Does it matter? Do you care that he knows anything about history?
Just fix my brain.
That's right. He just needs to know what he's doing on that. He practices that every single day. Mm-hmm. He understands the intricacies of that. He might can work on your brain, but he doesn't know anything about the heart just because he went to med school. So we've got to practice on all different aspects of that. And just like you speak about those people that are on those stage, they have their specialty. They all come together and collaborate. We're able to pull our philosophies from people. Mm-hmm. When you speak of titanium and you speak of, it's just growing exponentially all the time. Different people are coming in. but that community was built. RJ and Nick and Cassie did such a great job building it and monitoring the people that come in. We all build off of one another. We learn things from one another. Just because I've been doing this for 4 years and someone else has been doing it for 20 doesn't mean that I don't have something to share with them, something
Not
that
at
they
all.
can learn if you're open-minded to that. We have to take those philosophies and shape and mold because our world changes every day. My personality is not the same today as it was 15 years ago. I'm a different person. I've grown, I've matured, I've got more experience. But sometimes you've been doing something for so long you can get in a rut, and you need new insight to bring some energy back to you. So that's the beauty of adding and being on those same stages and getting to talk with different people.
Dude, that's so valuable too. I mean, your environment is going to determine your results because your environment determines who's around you. And the people that are around you, if they're not taking action and they're not willing to do what needs to be done, you can't win around those people because they're going to drag you down. And I think that one thing that I've always done well is I admit when I know something really well and I admit when I don't know anything. And so me singing, I sang and toured all over the country. I did the thing in band class and it was so magical. I remember when Mr. Varley let me play one time in front of the whole class and I ripped like Star Wars or something and everyone was like, whoa. And then I butchered the school exercise and got like seventh chair, whatever. But I remember thinking about like, dude, nobody else in the class is putting in the work outside of the book but you. And I think that it's important for people to remember that you can read all the books you want. You can follow all the instructions, the worksheets, the closer's formulas, anything. You can follow it. You can learn it. But if you don't do it and take action and improve and innovate and make it yours and your style and your delivery, you can't be successful. I could sit and read the closer's formula over and over and over again. If I'm not executing on it, there's no deals. You can only learn from the book so much before it's like, all right, well, I need to put the book to work now for me. And I think that's a big struggle for people is they work on all these reading books and all this personal development. I love it. It's great. But then they don't do anything.
Mike Tyson has the greatest quote there ever was. Everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth. And that's true. You don't know. You can do all the practice that you want. Life 100%. Is not scripted. There's nothing scripted about life. There's nothing scripted about when I walk into a seller's house and I'm sitting there visiting with them. I don't know what's fixing to come. I have no idea. But I've run into enough scenarios that I can put it in certain categories and I figure out how it's going to flow. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to help solve them a problem for them, create a win-win for everyone, and figure out how to help them put themselves in a better position.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, I went to I sent out a piece of mail the other day, and a guy called me. He goes, "Come by." Well, the guy didn't have a phone, so
how did he get a hold of you? Did he email you?
No, he borrowed someone's phone. So I was calling the number.
Oh, all right, hold on. So you sent out direct mail, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, because obviously we want to talk real estate, but when you talk to me, I'm always going to go on a tangent and then figure out some guitar player nobody's ever heard of from a record and talk about that for 10 minutes. So you sent out direct mail and a guy with no phone borrowed somebody's phone to call you about the deal.
100% he did.
Got it.
He had to. So he on the message, he goes, "Just stop by." So I go by the house like 3 times, knock on the door, no one's there. The front window of the house, he's got a tarp on the front window of the house. It's been broken out. And it was like I don't know, it's probably a 6-foot window, just one of the older houses is built in the 40s. So he's got a tarp over his window. Knock on the door, nobody there. I come back, I call the number a couple of times, and I can tell it's not him. I'm like, whose phone is this? They're not returning phone calls. They're not returning texts. If I borrowed your phone, I mean, wouldn't you at least think that you ought to return a phone call when the guy's trying to?
Yeah, you should probably keep the phone for more than 2 minutes when you're trying to get your house sold.
You should. So I go and I catch him and I visit with him. He bought the house in 1983.
I was born in
And
1983.
I'm a little bit older than you, but I was 5 in 1983.
There we go.
So I go and I sit down and visit with him. This guy has no front window. He's got a tarp over his front window. He has no heater. He has no air conditioner. It was
Oh
100
boy.
degrees. It was 100 degrees in Amarillo that day. Um, the house was in dire need of a roof. The inside of the house, he kept a very neat house. The house was neat. The house was clean. He was an artist. He painted. He had painted a mural on in one of the bedrooms. And
Was it any good?
It was good. It was cool. So he had he had 3 different phases. I mean, he had the underground, then he had what we just the grass and trees and everything, and then he had the heavens. So it was cool. It was his art. It was what he was feeling at the time.
Right.
That's what he put on the wall. Right. The floors again. The house needs some updated electrical. Obviously, heat, window, heat, air, and he was trapped in this house because he's on Social Security. He gets $1,400 a month. By the time he paid his property taxes, by the time he ate, I mean, his money's gone. So he had no money to repair the roof. He had no money to put a heater in the house or an air conditioner. Can you imagine living? I mean, in Dallas, in Amarillo, with no heat, no air conditioner?
No, I couldn't. When I was living in my van, I was in San Diego, and I would argue that San Diego's probably the best place in the country to be homeless living in your van.
I would say so. It's pretty constant year round.
It's a pretty damn good environment for that.
Yeah, but I mean, we could freeze up here. I mean, we get
yeah.
cold. And so he didn't have a whole lot of other choices, and he's wanting to he told me he's going to walk to Wisconsin. I'm not gonna. I'm going to do my best not to let him walk. That's where he's from. He's like, oh, it's easy. It's just 1,200 miles. I do 40 miles a day, and I can be there in 3 months. And I'm like, I don't know that.
Dude, you're better taking the Greyhound, homie.
That's what I told him. Anyway, he's after we closed. So we closed this past week. He's got new life. He's got new hope. He's got new dreams. He's got new aspirations because he's not locked in this house anymore. He now has some cash. He's got a little bit of freedom to be able to go do some things. He's like, well, maybe I'll stick around here. Maybe I'll just go visit Wisconsin and come back and I'll find a place. But he can actually plan the next phase of his life now versus being stuck in a house that he can't afford to repair.
And I love this 100% love this story because I think, just in my opinion, I'm a little bit of an outsider, but I've been around the real estate community for quite a few years now. And I think that people that don't get real estate think investors are these like bad people and they're scamming your grandma and stuff like that. It is not true. It couldn't even be further from the truth. These people are in a situation to where if they don't have a buyer, the government is potentially going to take the house over. We know how that's going to end. And then, or the city or something, or it's just going to get knocked down.
Right.
And condemned. And then what happens if all these houses go into foreclosure or they all get condemned? Well, then the neighborhood goes to shit. Let's just be real here about what the consequences are if investors don't come in and fix these places up, rehab them, turn them into a nicer rental or sell it to somebody, as a flip. Right? Or whatever the strategy is that you guys choose to use. I think that real estate investors are one of the most important pieces of our economy. Everybody needs a place to live. Not everybody wants to live in their van forever, including me, Crazy Pat. It's a phase, it's a season, but you don't want it to be a career. It's definitely not a retirement plan. I want a place to live, man. And if there's not options for people and these investors like yourself don't come in and help create options, especially in your local neighborhood, well, then the neighborhood goes to hell.
Absolutely, it does. There's another gentleman that reached out to me, and he's behind on taxes. It was his mom's house. We're
Mm.
trying to get a MERP, which is anytime you're on Medicaid, then they can file a judgment on the house. So we're trying to get that cleared up so he can actually get a little bit of something. Because, like you say, if not, that house is just going to set. The government does not move very fast on any of these things.
Hmm.
So it's going to go. It's going to go to the tax sale, and these houses don't get better with age. If you're not able to take care of them, they do not get any better. This house that I bought from Pat the other day, believe it or not,
What's that?
it
It's Pat.
yeah. If I don't buy that, I mean, 10 years from now, that house is worth less than it. 5 years from now, that house is worth less than it is today because it's not
100%.
going to get any better without a roof and without proper maintenance. So that's the challenge. That's one of the fallacies that people don't realize and understand with real estate, with their property or with rental property, the amount of money that it takes to keep them up
Mm.
and the upkeep on them, because the people look at them as an asset. They go, oh, well, it's going to appreciate. Well, not if you're not taking care of it.
Hmm.
It's those two go hand in hand.
100%. And I mean, we run our entire media agency out of a house right here in Murphy, Texas. And I had to make a decision once we started to get too big to film people in my living room at our little 2,500 square or whatever the size was. It wasn't big enough to have a real studio in our first house that we ever bought. I didn't even buy a house till I was like, I think 38 or 39 years old. We bought our first house or something like that. And, within a few years of us finally having a place to record clients, I couldn't use those rooms anymore. And it was just too small. And so I actually rented another house and used the other house as my office because it was cheaper than renting an actual office in like Plano or something because it's so outrageous to rent office space. So I literally rented a house and I tested income back and forth for that year based on the projection of could I withstand upgrading into a bigger house at whatever X or Y price. And so I moved out of that house, sold my first house that I had ever bought, and we moved in here. It's the best thing I ever did. There's a ton of different ways that you can utilize the tax code legally to write off certain things within reason with your house, home office, Augusta rule, etc. Obviously, consult with a tax strategist or your tax accountant for any type of tax advice. Do not take it from me, but you want to be legal. You want to pay your taxes in X, Y, and Z. Of course, you want to pay your fair share, but you can use a house as a cash flowing entity if you do it the right way, because we record people here. If I didn't have a place for my client, Robert Love, to record, well, then we wouldn't have been featured on Newsweek. And if I didn't have a place for this person to record, we wouldn't have been on the New York Times. And those videos were filmed in this house. And so I am a product of the real estate community. How would I even know that that was possible if I wasn't the lunch break guy at Cardone's event and then eventually became the MC for all these wholesalers and the Morbies and the Bateses and the whoever people. Jamil's been there for me since day one. I mean, Kyle Mallion, Carl Allen, all these investors and entrepreneurs were the people that were like, wow, you've got a great talent. If you do this, this, and this, you could be really successful with your talent. And the difference between me and the next guy is I just do exactly what smart people tell me to do right away. I don't wait.
Funny?
I don't wait.
So that's awesome. A lot of people wait. That's one of the biggest fallacies. If I have to look back upon my life, and my wife had been urging me to get out and do stuff on my own for a long time, and I was hesitant.
What a woman.
So she is great.
What a woman.
But
Good for her.
what I was going to speak on is, isn't it amazing how successful people want other people to be successful and they want to pull you along if you're willing to do the work? They don't want to do it for you, but isn't it amazing how they want to share and how they want to pour into you? But you look, and the people that are not, they want to criticize, they want to drag you down. maybe I've been one of those people in the
I'll
past,
tell you what,
but
man,
not
I've
anymore.
never met a millionaire or a billionaire that told me that my ideas weren't going to work. Now, they might have looked at my battle plan and said, okay, well, number 2 and number 4 aren't going to convert. Do this slightly different and this slightly different, and then it will work. But I've never had someone look at what I do that's successful and be like, no, that's stupid.
Because they saw the passion that you had and the work ethic that you had to put into it. You can't do those things without the passion, without the work ethic. If you don't have the passion for what you're doing, then it's just a job. And I don't know. That's not a whole lot of fun. I've been there.
Yeah, and I mean, being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 job. And I think that people overlook that too. There's that joke, we quit the 9 to 5 to work 24/7. And while that might be funny, it's because you have to be there for your people. Like anytime you text us, we're right there, man.
That's a fact.
We're right there. We don't play games with the customer service. In my opinion, that's the easiest thing in the world, is responding right away to the people that are a client or an X or a Y or a Z. Obviously, we've only got so much bandwidth, but you can't. Those are your people. Like there is no content hub or no big Pat Hilton rock and roll dream or rocking on stages or speaking or podcasting or anything without the people that support our company. It's over with.
I don't know when you sleep. I've texted you
Well,
all hours of the night. I anytime that I've messaged you, you've been up, and 11, 12 o'clock. I get a response back, and I'm not expecting one. But
Right.
if I don't send that text, then I'm going to forget about it, and it's on my mind.
And that's what we're here for. I think that if I could relay anything to anybody, it's 1, be too stupid to fail, and 2, always respond to the people that are your people. 100%. I think that sometimes, I've seen this before, people get so focused on getting new deals, new clients, new relationships, new, they forget to nurture what actually got them where they are. That's a huge mistake. Do not make that mistake out there. Do not think that you can all of a sudden ignore the people that got you where you are to try and seek some kind of new person. You should always be looking for new deals, looking for new clients, looking to acquire new whatever it is that you do. But hey, don't forget about the other things that are actually making the machine work, or you will, number 1, lose yourself and you'll go out of business.
So it's funny, and I want to reach back to something that you said earlier, talking about entrepreneurship and how it's 24/7. My local mentor here, Michael Dotson, he likes to say, I wake up every day unemployed. And that's true. You don't think about that as an entrepreneur, that you wake up every day unemployed. If you don't take care of the people that are taking care of you or have taken care of you in the past, absolutely, you're gonna starve if you take care of those things and you nurture those relationships. And at the end of the day, just treat people the way you want to be treated. You can't solve I can't solve everyone's problems. You can't solve everyone's problems. You can just tell them what you can, but absolutely, you gotta nurture those relationships.
Totally. And I also think again, there was no way for me to have the information that I have now 20 years ago, because the internet didn't work the way that it does now 20 years ago. But with the invention of the internet and social media and YouTube, there is so much free information now that can give people a competitive edge. And if you're willing to take action on the free information, whether it's AI, real estate, you want to be in the home services businesses, you want to buy or sell businesses, whatever it is that you want to do. We talk entrepreneurship here because it's an entrepreneur show, but you can literally become the authority in any category now. And there's 14-year-old kids launching AI automation agencies making $50,000 to $100,000 a month. And so there's no excuse for anyone out there to not be successful when the internet can literally build you on ChatGPT a business model. It's just pure laziness, in my opinion.
It is, and I want to touch on that just a little bit. So I'm not I'm just now learning to use AI and Chat GPT or Claude or
It's a
whatever it
great
is.
tool. It can't do the work for you, but it's a great tool to get you organized and confident.
And you said the word right there, Pat. It is a tool. At the end of the day, all business is a people business. I can't do this. I can't send a robot in to go talk to somebody.
Nope.
I can't chat with somebody. There's only so far that I can chat with somebody via text. People crave and need personal interaction. And so I'm be interested to see. You probably have a better gauge on it than I do, but I'll be interested to see when AI goes too far and people start reverting back to needing more of that human to human interaction. We have to have it physiologically. We have to have it.
Well,
Um,
I think it's already happening. I think it's already happening. There's, you know me, I'm about to go music. There's an app called Suno, and Suno lets you literally write a song about anything using AI. But if you go and you listen to what Suno creates and you compare it to an actual recording artist, number one, the quality's not as good. You can tell by the depth of like the track that it wasn't actually tracked, because real bass players and drummers and producers, even EDM artists that use real sounds and real production, it doesn't sound the same as a real track. It sounds flimsy. It sounds papery. It sounds thin. And I think that over time it'll probably get better. But who would ever go to see, an AI DJ? I personally wouldn't. Doesn't mean that there won't be people that are good at using that. But like you said, it goes business. If AI avatar Pat comes on the screen and it's robot Pat, well, why would anyone watch that? It's not me. It's not real. And
right.
so people always go back to human psychology, heart, emotion. They want real connection. And I think that's why bands like Oasis are selling out Wembley Stadium 7 nights in a row, selling out Manchester, England, selling out all over the world. They're back is because people want that real connection. They've been listening to them since they were kids. Now they're taking their kids and their kids' kids, and it's this big deal. Why? Because it's real. When are we ever going to get another chance to see these legendary Brits come out and sing? It might never happen again. And so people crave those moments and experiences. And I think in business, closing a deal, making a transaction, what you did for that guy whose house was, let's face the facts, it wasn't in very good shape. And it doesn't sound like his life was in very good shape either. You came along and you probably gave that guy the biggest boost he ever needed in life. I'm going to walk to Wisconsin? Like, bro, come on.
Day.
Right. And so that, in my opinion, is the bottom line. If you can be someone that people rely on, then you're always going to be able to serve people. That's the other thing about business. If you are unable to service people, you're going to have a really hard time in business. You could have the best product in the world. You could have the best song in the world. You could be the best real estate person in the world. But after a while, your character, your leadership, your personality, your ability to deal with people is going to determine whether you stay at the top or you work your way to the top. Because a lot of people grow faster than others. It's just the way it goes. Call it fair, call it unfair. Life is life. Some people grow faster than others. And sometimes those are the people that can't handle it in anything. They get super big, it's working great for a while, and they just can't handle it because they're not weathered to deal with the months where it isn't perfect. Because it's not always going to be a record-breaking month.
Absolutely not. There's months I lost money last few months last year, and it's funny. We're all the cliches. I mean, diamonds are built under pressure and all this stuff. It is true. Like there's nowhere in the Bible does it tell us that this life is going to be easy after we accept Christ. It is. There's storms to weather every single day, and that's where we get shaped. that's where we're able to reach out to others that are going through a similar struggle. I'm sure you've had people reach out to you. You are now able, that's your testimony. I mean, your testimony living in your van, you have a testimony to go share with someone else that's struggling, that's fixing to be there. You can show them what it's like to be on the other side. That's that's what going through the struggle creates. It creates us, it forms us, it shapes us, and it allows us to pour into others.
Dude, I was texting with our company bookkeeper yesterday or the day before or whatever it was, and I was talking to her, and I was like, oh yeah, and this and this and this, and then I got this gig coming up and this speech and then that and the other thing, and then in between I've got all my meetings that hit up until about 1 or 2 so I can try and sing. I think my peak of my voice is between like 2 and 6, then I get my family time in, and then blah blah blah. And she's just like, dude, I gotta be honest, like I don't know anyone that is as passionate as you are about what they do. I've never met anyone. And I'm like, I don't even know that it's necessarily a term, a passion or intensity or psychosis, but it's just like, dude, like you said, I think God calls us. I'm definitely a believer. And I don't try to push it on people. I don't try to push it too hard in my content because I think it can be a turn off for the wrong people. The people that are seeking, if you push them, they repel. But the people that have accepted, they're going to believe no matter what. And so you really want to make sure that when you're speaking about faith or belief, that you do it in a way that if someone doesn't believe, that they start to question, why don't I believe? Right? So anyway,
Sure.
You'd have to be crazy to pack up your stuff in St. Louis. I was homeless, chasing the dream, living in St. Louis for years, and then finally moved in with Megan, my girlfriend. She's my wife now. And I finally had a place to live, and I'm touring all over the country. And I'm like, I think I'm going to pack up my stuff and be homeless in California for like 6 or 7 months. And then let's get engaged and get married. And then I'm going to make it big. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. What kind of crazy person is like, yeah, I think I want to be homeless again? Dude, I had faith. I was called. So, I'm like, if you really want to compete at the biggest level and go toe to toe with the best in the industry and be the best, you have to go where those people are and go toe to toe with them. You got to get out of Missouri because, unfortunately, I love Missouri, but it's a small town with a big heart, and it's not a competitive force in the big markets. Unfortunately, the Blues, they got one in. And the Rams, they got one in. But unfortunately, a lot of talent from that market gets overlooked because it's a small town. And if you really want to pop off, you got to go where the action is. And that San Diego move was the right call because I never would have got on Cardone's stage. I never would have met Brad Lee, who told me to launch the video agency. And I never would have been on this call with you or worked with RJ Bates.
Believe it or not, I was actually I was at that 10X event.
10X too? I was on the third day lunch break. They pushed me all the way to the end.
I don't know that I saw you there.
I'm sure you didn't.
You there, but I was there. That was my first introduction to business and to some of those things. I was working for a guy at the time, and it was pretty big. He was into it, I guess, and so it was my first introduction into that world that really kind of got the juices flowing.
Dude, 10X2 was awesome.
Yeah,
so good. I remember
it was so far over my head at the time. I mean, I was drinking
too.
from a fire hydrant. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're fine. It was the same thing that was like essentially what I was going to say. I remember because I made this funny tune for Cardone. His wife was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, because I messaged it to the whole entire freaking staff at Cardone Enterprises. Steve Spray, David Robart, Elena Cardone, Sherry Hamilton, Grant Cardone, this Cardone, that Cardone. Gary Cardone, Sherry Cardone, Cheeseberry Cardone. Like, dude, I was like, dude, this is hilarious. You guys got to see this. And it was Elena that messaged me back and was like, oh my gosh, this is so brilliant. Can you send me the file? And so I sent it to her and she uploaded it and it went bonkers on his page. To get that deal, Listen to this one. My wife and I drove from San Diego to Las Vegas with no money, stayed in the shittiest Best Western by Mandalay Bay, and I snuck into the Hard Rock with my pregnant wife and closed Cardone in the hallway of the Hard Rock at Cole Hatter's Thrive event with no ticket, snuck past security, shook his hand. He said I could play at the lunch break. We drove back to San Diego. And then I played that gig in February. We had our first baby, Ella. She's 7 now. And we had our baby in November. I drove in February to Mandalay Bay with our only car to play the lunch break at that event for free. Like, dude, you have to have an insane amount of faith to pull something like off. But like, again, you could call me crazy. Maybe I'm walking around talking to myself, but I do feel like you can feel God pushing you in the right direction sometimes when you feel like you're crazy or you feel like you're desperate or you feel like whatever. It's like, no. This is the right call. This is the right call. You're doing the right thing. This is the opportunity. This is the opportunity. And you have to listen. Because if you don't listen to that voice, that is the voice of success. And sometimes it leads you into a situation where you're like, okay, there's barbed wire and explosives and this and that. And I'm supposed to walk through this? You're telling me I'm walking through this, right? Just walk? Just walk. Okay, I guess I'm walking. And then the handshake happens, and then the gig happens, and then I get my first deal, and then I get, like, dude, it's crazy when you follow the calling, because it's in everybody's head. I was saying it about Hulk Hogan the other day. Hulk Hogan's got that gear that he can turn on. He got rest his soul. I almost feel like he's the immortal Hulk Hogan. That was part of his name. So he is immortal now because we're still talking about him. He had this gear that he could turn on, and it turned on inside you. He was so good at turning on that gear that you felt the energy. Like, he would go off the TV and you'd be like, oh, you Hulkamaniacs. You became it. And I think that our job, it's not just to do sales or marketing, or it's to provide a solution to people, number one, but it's also to make whoever we're working with understand that they're capable of doing anything, because the time is it's ticking. Like, I can almost hear an alarm clock in my head sometimes. Tick, 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 tick. Like, dude, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody else today, man. I message you and I'm like, let's hop on, let's film some content, let's get some good clips, let's put you on the spot, X, Y, and Z. It's like, I love doing this stuff. Why wouldn't I do it? And I think that sometimes people hit the mute button because they're like, oh, I don't know, that's too extreme. I can't do that. I'm not going to sneak into some event and close Cardone. I'm going to get arrested. Why would I do that? That's idiotic. No, dude, that's the only way you're going to get the handshake. He told me, yes, it's a great idea. Yes, I would love to have you perform on the lunch break. Yes, talk to this person, that person, the other person. But no one was confirming it. You got to shake this guy's hand. Be a man. Go and find this dude and shake his hand.
You got to knock the doors down.
Right. And get an agreement and let him know who the hell you are and that you mean business. And then don't bug him. Bounce out of the place. But show this dude that you're the real deal. That's what got the deal done. Yeah. It wasn't just the song got his attention, but I walked up and said, hey, man, I need this. This is my wife. She's pregnant. I sing in bar corners for $100 a night. Nobody ever believed in me. Nobody ever shared my stuff but you. This is it, dude. When you posted the video that said, if you're a creator, make me something, I want to get verified, I knew this was the opportunity. And when your wife messaged me, because she was standing right there, I knew this was it. And I could just see, he could probably see himself in me that day. Like, dang, this guy's a young hustler. You know how he is. Yeah, man. Okay, cool. Yeah. The jingle man. Right? He wasn't going to say no to some guy that wants it that bad, man. Let me play when nothing's going on, bro. You're spending millions of dollars and nothing's happening during the lunch break, bro. It's prime time.
So, it's interesting that you say that. If a kid comes and knocks on your door today and you answer the door and they ask you if they can wash your windows or if they can rake your lawn, what are you going to tell them?
If it's a
You're
kid,
not
I
telling
always
them
say
no.
yes.
Absolutely, right?
If it's
Because they want it.
if it's a punk roofer, I'm telling him to get off my porch.
But they want it. They want it. They
They
need
do.
it. They're coming and they're asking, and you can tell their sincerity. And you have to be willing to give that to the people that want it, and you can see that. You know
Totally.
that. But your back was against the wall. How many choices did you have?
I didn't have any choices.
Yeah,
that was the
you gotta do it.
only pitch that came over the plate that was just an easy. I mean, I cranked that thing. It was out of the park. I had that video up. He was like, hey, if you're a hungry hustler, I spend $1 million a month on Facebook and Zuckerberg won't give me a blue check mark. There's all these people taking my pages. Don't buy nothing from anybody that's selling you anything that ain't this page. They're scamming you. Zuckerberg, if you're a creator, make me a graphic or you rap me a tune or what. I'm like, rap, right? He wants me to sing him a song right now? Grant Cardone is asking me to sing. This was 2017. He was not the Cardone of now. He was a different, he was still on the come up, right? And I mean, I had that thing up in like under 10 minutes because I had been practicing those dinky jingles for years. I was writing them about people at the bar when they're eating a chicken sandwich. And that weird, quirky talent was what broke me into the game. It was what broke me into the game, man. And I think that looking back, if I would have quit at any point on the guitar, I never would have been here. And now, since I had to pause music or I wasn't going to be able to take care of my family, now that we're in a position where we're taking care of the family, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, wait a minute. You've got catalog of all these incredible songs that I think they're hits, and you've never released them because you never had any money. So I called up the dudes from San Diego and we're producing a second album. And I think these songs, I think they're hits, or I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think they were going to hit. Let's just be real. 42 years old. Most people would say you're over the hill. I think it's prime time. Our buddy, I don't know if you know Nick Perry. Nick Perry's in a bodybuilding competition this week. I'm pretty sure he's my age. He looks unbelievable, but like, when is he ever going to do that? You're just not going to do it?
Right.
You're just not going to do it? There's no excuse.
In you. Right. If the calling's in you and it's there, and I wish you all the best, but if you don't take that shot, if you don't produce the album, you're going to regret that forever.
Totally. It actually hurts to even sing some of these because it takes me back to how addicted and how desperate I was back in the day, and just how bad I wanted to make it, but I had no resources at all. I had 6 strings. There's a song on the record where I talk about I got empty pockets, a 6-pack of Thrills, a whiskey bottle, and a handful of bills. And the 6-pack of Thrills is actually a 6-pack of guitar strings, not you would think that it was like beers or something, but like all I needed was a 6-pack of strings, a little whiskey, and then I'm going to get these bills paid somehow, man.
But I don't know if you've thought about this because you just ran me through this and where that was.
That's like every man in America, right?
Right? Well, you said that started by you playing by messing around on the guitar. It did not start there. It started in 3rd grade music class when you were creating your own things on your trumpet. It had nothing. It started way before the guitar. The guitar was just the next tool to take you to the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I encourage people out there, because wholesaling, that's what wholesaling's becoming for you. Wholesaling's the tool that you're going to use to create freedom for you and your wife. And the more fun you have with it, the more successful you're going to be. Because if you're counting pennies, just talking to my buddy about this, if you're constantly counting pennies and you're constantly worried about that, you can't make millions of dollars counting pennies.
No, it's like clipping coupons and driving around
It's
town
a broke
to
mindset.
save 10 cent. Absolutely. So not only do I wholesale, I've got a portfolio as well of close to a little over 40 properties.
Well, let's talk about the
And
40 properties. What kind of structure did you do on those deals? They're cash flowing properties?
they're cash flowing properties.
Wow, that's a lot of
Um,
deals. That's great.
Yeah, it is.
That's
It is.
great.
I will say I hit the cheat code. I ran into a couple of packages that help those numbers. It's hard to do those one at a time.
Yep.
I closed on a 14 door package with my partner and mentor here in town, so that boosted those numbers quite a bit. 14 it gets a little faster than one at a time.
Well, yeah, you have to
Um,
do it that way. You got to acquire at a higher speed, or you're just going to be stuck in the rat race with these properties. One heat, what is it, hot water heater or whatever goes out, kills your cash flow for a year and a half.
Absolutely.
They don't like to tell you
So
that one. You real estate guys don't like that the MC was paying attention in the back, do you?
I'm glad you brought that up. I look at my properties as stocks. So people put money into people that are working a W-2, they put money into an IRA and
Yep.
they do not expect anything from that until their time of retirement, right?
Yep.
Well, that's what my rentals are. They're just a stock that I have that's sitting there for a time being. If I get in a bind, I just go sell one and cash it in. I've got equity. They also cash flow. And at the end of the day, that's what it's going to do. My rentals, just because the rentals cash flow, don't mean that my rental business makes money. I have to wholesale properties or flip properties in order to generate revenue because there's not enough revenue that's generated from those properties.
Yeah.
But to back it up, you went all in and you took your shot. I did as well. So I was in the car business for 20 years and I got let go. I knew it was coming. COVID decimated inventory levels.
Yep.
I knew it was coming. It wasn't a secret. I'd been in the business for over 20 years. The writing was on the wall. I approached the guy that I was working for here local, Bobby Doobie. I love Bobby. Bobby's awesome.
Bobby Doobie, what a great name.
He's got a great jingle too. Bobby Doobie sold it to me. Bobby Doobie sold it to me. Anyway,
Yes.
it is a great jingle. Great guy, super awesome energy. I went to him like in June or July, and I asked him. I said, Bobby, do I need to start looking for a job? He's like, No, it's all good. We're gonna come out of this, and the manufacturers are gonna start building cars again, and everything's gonna be good. And I'm like, okay. And so he came to me in December of that year, and at the first of December, and he told me, he said, I've got to let you go. And I was like, I know. I knew 6 months ago. And that was the best thing he could have ever done for me. That was a favor. He did me a solid favor by doing that.
Those can be the hardest conversations to accept, that's actually a positive thing, not a negative thing.
Yeah, it was definitely positive. And it was hard. I went through a depression for 30 to 45 days
I'm
after
sure you
that.
did, dude. Have you spent that much time working in that category and now it's gone?
That was my identity. I didn't think I could do anything else. And I'm here telling everyone there is something else that you can do. You've got tons of you've got talent in all kinds of areas. But just prior to that, I'd taken my IRA, I'd rolled it over a time or two. I'd worked for some other places, and I took my IRA, and I was actually lending money out of my IRA, and that was my introduction to real estate. I saw a guy selling a house for $14,000, and I was like, "What? You can sell a house for $14,000?" This is pre-COVID, and so I actually reached out to him, and I was like, "How do you do this?" And he was pretty. He didn't want to shed any secrets on it. We did visit. I did end up loaning money to him for a little over a year and a half, and then I was like, "Oh, so this is how this works." It's just like selling cars.
Right.
It's really not any different. You just got to find it, and then you got to find who needs it and sell it to them. So, like the light bulb went on, and I took everything that I had. I took my IRA, I refinanced my house, and I went all in. Um, sorry.
No, that's a
it
ballsy
was
move.
it was tough.
That's a ballsy move, bro. Proud of you.
It was scary.
Fuck yeah, it was scary. But you fucking won. I mean, you won the gamble.
Yeah. Well, I'm winning the gamble. I don't know if we ever really win. That's what we were talking about earlier, right?
You just got to win the day,
I'm very
man.
blessed.
I mean, you just got to win the day. That's all you can freaking do.
And so, I did that. I bought 6 rentals, and then I was like, okay, now I need to get some leads. I need to start selling these houses, and things just absolutely took off and blew up.
Wow.
The year before I joined Titanium, I did a little over 30 deals.
Mm-hmm.
My first year, after I joined Titanium that year, I did over 57 transactions last year. So I'm now trying to get a team built and get some guys to help me call so that I can do, try to expand and try to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But the rental portfolio, again, I look at it as stocks. They're just all little individual stocks that I'm going to sit there. I'm going to pay into them just like a guy with an IRA does, or like a 401k does at a W-2 job. And when that's done, someone else will have paid for my assets. And yeah, I'm gonna make payments along the way. I'm gonna pay taxes. I'm gonna pay insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pay the note. I'm gonna make repairs.
Yep.
And every month is not positive. There's months that are negative that I have to pull from other resources to help fund those businesses, to help fund those rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but like you said, the guys in the back they were saying the same thing. So,
well, yeah, I mean, any of these guys that are using real estate cash flow, they're not getting rich off the cash flow in these real estate houses. They're just not. It's more of a stored appreciation. Like you said, they're using it for tax purposes, to outweigh active income. They're doing cost segregation studies so that they can get X, Y, and Z handled on their tax bill. They're reducing their liability. They're using it as a way to, if they acquire a business, sometimes it comes with real estate. There's all these different ways people can use real estate. Yeah, real estate's created more millionaires than anybody. That is factual. That is true. But private equity and acquisitions has created more billionaires than anybody. So, I mean, you can always take it to the next level. And I think that real estate, as I've said, real estate, everybody needs a place to live. Period.
Absolutely.
End of story. Real estate's not going anywhere. Investors aren't going anywhere. I don't think agents are going anywhere. I think an agent is still a very powerful tool in your back pocket. Someone like me who's not really an active investor, like, dude, I use traditional everything to do my own personal house. I'm not just going to go buy some junker and think I'm going to be able to fix it up with no experience and then move my kids into it. That ain't happening. So there's always, like we were talking about earlier with Michelle and Pat, we're both successful, but she went the traditional route and I went the entrepreneur route. They both work. Not one of them's good or bad. They both work together. But I mean, dude, there is going to be an unlimited amount of opportunity, especially for real estate investors, with implementing AI and marketing, online eyeballs, all of these tools that we have now and these platforms that we have at our fingertips. We're doing this and it's free. This does not cost you or me anything to create this show.
Right.
Nothing. And people still are like, oh, I don't know. What if Aunt Jemima from Louisiana sees me on the stream and she doesn't like it? Dude, is she your customer? Who gives a shit what she thinks? Is she buying anything? Is she selling her house? Is she selling her home? Tell her to call J Dubs. I think that we create these scenarios in our head sometimes that this person or that person that doesn't even exist is going to care about anything that we do, and we've just psyched ourselves out. Whereas if we just take the action, we just blow through the doors, it works anyway.
we want everyone to like us, and they're not. I want to step back just a minute. You were talking about agents. I love agents. They have their place. I have my place.
Totally.
They're just a different tool.
They are. They're not applicable in every scenario.
Absolutely not. When you go build a house, you don't use the same saw for everything that you cut. You
Nope.
don't use the same hammer. There's different hammers. There's different screwdrivers. They are a different tool. There's times to use that tool. There's times to use the investor as a tool. And when we talk about the way that people are built different, I need a different level of adrenaline and dopamine than the average person. So I'm able to take some of those risks, and it's scary.
Yep.
But it takes all kinds. There's people that want to play it safe and play take the safe route, and that's great for them. There's others that need to take the risk, and that's great for them as well.
Well, and I also think that just from my perspective, because I've watched a lot of people take the safe route and then that didn't work for them either. Like, you can still lose your job tomorrow. You can still lose your job with health insurance and a 401k and a whatever package tomorrow. And you think it's secure. You think you've got it made, but really, everyone is vulnerable to changes in the world, especially when it comes to the economy, and especially when it comes to someone who's running a business and they have to stay in business. Unfortunately, staying in business means cutting expenses sometimes. Our social media team has been an expense that people have cut sometimes. I mean, of course we have been. A lot of those people come back because they're like, hey, we need a couple months. We got to do this. We're investing in that. And then we're going to come back to turn it back on. In fact, quite a few people can't even talk about some of the stuff that they're doing on social media. So they're like, yeah, we definitely can't even talk about this on social media. So can you give me 30 days? And it's hard to say yes, because I'm like, well, we have bills to pay. But it's like, dude, if you're doing the right thing, it works out anyway. And the right people will treat you right, and the wrong people will treat you the way they're going to treat you. And it always flows you up to the people that you need to be around. And so I think that when you first get started, you just want any deal that you can get, and you want everybody to like you. And then you realize that you don't even want certain deals, and you don't even want to be liked by certain people. And then you're like, well, wait, I need to change my standards. And the moment that happens and you start to raise your standard and you start to think differently, then you almost can't even be, not even almost, you cannot be around people that don't operate at your standard because they make you crazy. Crazy, dude. And I've noticed it. We'll be out somewhere doing something and blah, 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 blah. And with my wife, God bless my wife. And, we'll be doing something and I'm like, I just don't understand these people. She's like, when you say like that, it doesn't sound good. I'm like, you don't understand. I come, and just like an example, if you're exposed to something over and over and over and over again, and it consistently is no good, and you try to help, I literally made a post about it this morning. Why I post, and you literally try to help the person, you give them advice, you tell them exactly what to do to fix it, and X, Y, and Z, and then they don't do anything. It's just like, dude, I can't be around you anymore. Like, what if Brad Lee would have given me this advice? If you really want to get out of the bar corners, do this, 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 and this in a video agency. You get 3 to 5 clients. Your wife never has to work at that preschool ever again. And then I don't do it. And he keeps seeing me year after year, and I didn't take his advice, and I'm still broke. What would he say? What would he have said? Dude, I already told you what you do, and you didn't do it. You deserve to fail.
Mm-hmm. He starts ignoring you.
That's what he wouldn't even respond. You're actually right. He wouldn't even respond to me anymore. That's actually true. Because people like that don't waste their time with people that waste their time. Mm-hmm. We have to understand that. I had never been around anyone that was successful before like that until that day. So anything that those guys told me to do, I did it right away. And I think that you have obviously seeked out people that are experts. And RJ Bates, what's the other guy's name?
Michael Dodson.
Michael Dodson or an RJ Bates. Like, obviously, those guys have really inspired you to go out and do deals. Your deal volume has increased. And I'm willing to bet your transaction size is going to start to increase along with your deal volume because you're going to get better at doing deals.
Yes, and you're correct. I mean, you get selective on deals that you're going to do, the amount of time that it's
your standard's way higher now than it was 4 years ago.
I look at houses that I'm going to keep in my rental portfolio a whole lot different now than I did when I started.
100%. And 4 years from now, you're going to look at some of the stuff that's in your rental portfolio, and you're going to be like, I can't even believe I bought this thing.
4 years. Let's try 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. I can't even believe I bought this junker.
Yeah. But there's different levels of everything.
Yep.
Again, that's why I like to compare houses to stocks. I mean, there's different levels of stocks, and to me that just that can relate to people. They understand that more so than they do houses. I want to go back and you were talking about the guy that's playing it safe and working at the W-2. They think that everything is okay. They don't realize that they're working on commission. We're all working on commission.
Everybody is.
Everybody is, right? Because if you're not if you're not producing enough revenue for your company and what you're doing, guess what? You're gone. The company's going to fail, and you're out.
Yeah.
You got to show up every day, no matter what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. And I mean, and that's why we were talking even before we went live. It's a harsh reality, but the industry that I wanted to be my quote unquote career is a broken industry, and that's the music industry. Back in the day, you could sell 10 million records and potentially be a rich rock star, but how sustainable is that? Once the record stops selling, how successful are you? Once you're not the cool person anymore and Britney Spears is cool and you're not anymore, well, the ticket sales dry up. And it becomes unsustainable. Expenses start to pile up. Your lifestyle's higher, but your bills are higher too. And the income has gone down. You're not the cool kid on the block anymore. These things, we've seen it happen with boxers, athletes, musicians, and then you see it a lot now with business people. Business people, they get big on the internet. They're the big new guru. And then, 2-3 years later, you find out they were broke the whole time. It happens all the time. And no one can deny it around me anymore because I'm the guy that was backstage announcing everybody. So I've seen them all. And you got to be really, really careful. Like you said, thinking that you made it. You never actually make it. That doesn't even register with me. Like even with the music, we're going to release this music. It's great music. I hope it goes number one. I'm not recording it to be number two. I'm recording it to be number one. My heart's not going to be broken if it doesn't rank. I've always been an unranked number one contender. But at the same time, I'm going to make it the absolute best that I can make it. We're going to take our time. We're going to do the best that we can do because the goal is to make it the best that it can be, not to try to make money off it. I want it to be the best that I can possibly make it. I don't necessarily even need to make money off it. I need it to be absolutely incredible because I only get one opportunity when somebody hits play for it to kick them in the mouth. Yeah, and I think that if people thought about life like that, why don't I just try to be the absolute best first? And then everything else will follow. But people always think, well, I want everything that follows without actually being any good. Well, that's not how this works. You got J-Dubs out here busting his butt. Everybody can see his videos. He's got a portfolio. He can negotiate. He's ready to close a deal. Who are they going to go to? The person that's made them available, the person that's made their track record available, or the guy that's not willing to put in the work? You're going to beat that person every time. It's just simple math. Consistency wins in anything.
100%.
All right. So if you could give people we'll do another couple of these. You're such an easy person to talk to. I could go for 3 hours with you. If you could give people one piece of advice that you've learned as a real estate investor that could help somebody out there do their first deal or do more deals faster, what would that piece of advice be?
Find a mentor, find someone to help you along the way. And just like you said, do what they tell you to do. Follow someone that's already doing it, that you don't have to rewrite anything. Go do it, go take action, go fail, go get hit in the mouth, and then figure out what you're going to do. There's plenty of people out there that'll help you. Join Titanium University. It's a great community. There's plenty of people in there that are willing to help you. And you can always reach out to me on any of my socials. If you have a deal here in or around Amarillo, I would love to help you out. I'll walk you through each and every step. But those are the things. Find a mentor, whether it be locally or reach out to Titanium University and join and set your dreams.
You got to be in that group. I think virtual masterminds are one of the most powerful ways to just get around people right at your fingertips without leaving your house or anything that can help you move the needle. Ladies and gentlemen, it's J Dubs, Amarillo, Texas, #1 real estate investor. Hit him up for your deals today. Follow him all over social media. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the next one.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, buddy.